Hello everybody, and welcome to your Sunday Night Addiction. This is painting without Manoth John. That's right, Manoth John is out stuck somewhere in the air on his way back from Europe, or to Europe, or wherever the hell he's going, and he left myself and Gonzo in charge. So, welcome, Gonzo. How you doing today, Gonzo? Gonzo?
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
I can hear me now. That was weird. No music. Oh man.
Uh,
Here,
not
everybody just pretend. Dance.
stance. Yeah, yeah. I don't know what about the music. We had it last time, but my apologies. We'll try and do better next time. There we go.
I mean, yeah, we will.
Yeah. All right. So, there we go. We're off to a smooth start, but you guys can see us at least and hear us, so that's a bonus. Better than our last couple
Woo.
starts. And you can see exactly how much mess I have behind me. I did think about getting the green screen and putting it behind me for the whole thing, but that's work. I don't want to have that much work. So here we are, another Sunday. No man else, John. A little rambly. That's how I go. But I got Gonzo here to keep me honest.
No, no way in hell will I do that.
Oh, so Gonzo, what are you drinking tonight?
Um, for shots, Bacardi 151. For chasers, a toffee stout.
Oh, well, I'm gonna skip the shot because I need to keep myself at least semi-sober if I'm gonna troubleshoot any problems we're sure to have. But I've got a nice giant Smirnoff Ice screwdriver for drinking in general. And here's hoping it's still recording and doing well. It looks like we're doing good, but I know our committee says he can't see anything. So let us know if you guys see anything.
Yeah, you hit refresh.
All right, good. Everyone looks like they're gonna. Okay. So,
Holy crap, it's a big bottle.
so I guess we got to start this off right. Let me get this thing open for us. Again, thank you all for showing up. And Ron,
Ron.
oh, sorry about that. Gonzo sort of snuck it in on you.
Mmm.
I don't have those finely honed host skills like Mouth John. I'm used to running the show with just myself solo when I'm running it.
Whew. That's warm.
All right. Well, I do want to thank our sponsors. Our sponsors are you guys, the patrons. Thank you guys for your continued support. It helps us keep the light on, at least at John's place. Helps us take care of this wonderful technology you see in front of us, me running the show. Couldn't do that without you guys. And if you're not a patron, you can become a patron, or there's other ways to support us. Either way, you can throw ideas our way. We always love to hear ideas from you guys. We like to be interactive. You know, tell us what you want to hear us talk about. I mean, Gonzo and I are probably going to have another couple shows to do by ourselves through the year. And we'd love for you guys to tell us topics you want to hear about because that saves us work.
Oh yeah. I
What do
mean,
we?
I could give you pocket lint as exchange for good ideas.
Uh,
A wave.
Circus Peanut?
No, no peanuts. No
Oh,
peanuts.
well, Nora and Richard, Mouth John is somewhere in the air over the Atlantic one way or the other. And yes, Trolltoness, and I know my camera is in both because I switched to the painting cam because if I go, hold on, I'll go to the face cam because this will show you exactly why we do it with the face cam. Because it doesn't work out right because I don't have a green screen.
What? I
Yeah,
could
it's
switch and make effects. When we make effects, do the moon again.
to the moon. You could give us the moon, but
Okay, hold on.
so we'll keep it on the painting cam because it seems that's a little better. I was actually going to hold on, put my logo there, but it doesn't look that good. It's very grainy. So there you go. But what the heck? I'll throw that there anyways, just so it doesn't confuse everyone. Boom. Co-host logo. Boom. Correct. Yes. Noman John tonight. And tonight we're actually going to talk about underappreciated models. We'll try not to be as rambly as I normally am, but good luck. And we'll have the moon speak just a little bit. It'll sound just like Gonzo.
It'll be creepy.
Oh, it looks like the effect's not working right now. That's too bad.
Oh, it will. Hold on. Hold on. It's calibrating.
That's right. We're about to go completely off the rails here. And we're barely started. Yes, you can see Gonzo's full moon. All right.
It's right there. See my full moon.
Yeah. Well, let us get to some topic before we go completely and totally crazy. We keep it only minorly crazy. Tonight's topic is underappreciated models. I came up with the idea with Gonzo after a discussion with a local where he just kept talking about stuff and like that's crap and that's crap and that's crap and I'm like, are these models crap or is it just that you're just so focused on competitive that you don't give them time because competitive players have to spend their time learning how to use their lists, so they don't necessarily have the extra free time to try new units that on paper to them look bad. So now it's working.
Oh yeah.
So I figured Gonzo and I would rather than rant at something else, we'd talk about underappreciated models and units and stuff that ourselves and you guys think need more love and are way better than people give them credit for. Gonzo, I'll let you start out. You said you got a whole bunch. What you got for our first underappreciated model?
Well, I actually have an underappreciated group
Well,
that I really want to talk about. I'll take care of the moon. I want to be a little bit serious. Um, One of the things I think is really underappreciated are all the special edition miniatures they made, like the Bombardier Bomber, those.
mm,
um, those are models I don't you don't ever see them played. You only see them collected, and to me that's kind of a pain. But also you don't see them played because of steamroller rules. Like I'd love to have the Bombardier Bomber as just my unit leader,
mm-hmm.
but you can't have that.
Does it have to
It
be
has to
mechanic?
be. It had no. It has to be just. They have to be just normal troops.
Oh,
And I was sure I'd love to have a whole unit of bombardier bombers, and then the unit leader, but that's freaking expensive.
yeah. Well, I used to use the kilt lifter as my UA for the officer for my Fen blades, and then I demoted the actual officer model to the unit leader as so it was easier to see. Um,
Yes,
and that's great locally, and honestly, if you ask your TO, he may be okay with that, and you probably have the standard model there anyways.
correct.
But I agree with you; they aren't used enough. I mean, you can't just see the solos. Like you'll see the Witch Doctor alt sculpt, you see the alternate Wilder. But yeah, you don't see the Bombardier Bombshell too often. I haven't seen the Scar. There was an alternate Scar, right? That was this year.
Hmm.
Haven't seen her used at all. Then again, it's the Crix. I don't hear a lot about the Brute Thrall getting used, even though they're pretty good. Rumor
Yeah, yeah,
has it they're shield guards now, and they're cheap shield guards, especially in a what would I would classify as a late game unit.
yeah. Now I think the special edition models really need to see some play. I would really like for them to take away the ability that they could be used as like an officer or something like that, because I think that would be really cool to have done. Because I mean, it is in a steamroller packet, and depending on what tournament you go to, of course, depends on whether the TO is going to go yay or nay.
Hmm. Oh yeah, now
So
and honestly, making them unit leaders at least, or even officers is way better because they stand out so much on the battlefield.
yes,
Because as just a trooper, I'm gonna be like, "What's that guy? I'm shooting that guy." Oh, just a trooper? Oh, god damn it!
hmm,
I think unit
yep,
leaders would be good because at the very least, if they're unit leaders, that means that you get to replace them on the board, and your cool model can stay on the board, and you get to keep showing it off. So apparently, I'm shaking my camera quite a bit as I'm speaking, which is interesting. I can see it every time I talk.
that's cool.
Uh, so yeah, that's actually a good one. A good one. All those lesser models, like the Gobber drudges, um,
Yep,
and they're kind of unfortunate because they only usable as a certain type of drudge too, which is not like you can just mix them into a unit and put markings on them. I thought that would have been a better use, but Hey, Private Rest makes the rules, try to make it easy on everyone, and all you can do is ask your TO.
Yep. I mean, if it was me and I was running a tournament and guy said my bombardier bomber is my unit leader, I would have said no problem.
Yeah, I'd be like, well, duh.
Yeah, that would
I'd be
be.
like, wait, it's not?
She should be. Damn.
Yes, absolutely. Uh, so my first underappreciated modeler unit is actually not even from a faction I play. And I feel dirty telling people to play this model because I actually don't ever want to see it on the field across from me, but it's awesome. And that is the Elysian of the Order of the Fist, or the Kicky Monk.
The Kiki Monk.
Those,
Yeah.
those guys are so good. I mean, parry and tough, advanced deployment. I mean, they're only Def 14, but if the shifting stands, they're Def 18, and they get basically super dodge. They get to make a full move if you miss. They have sidestep. They can't be knocked down. Um, they're they're crazy good. Two POW 9 Weapon Masters with Mat 7. It's a really good 3-point model. I think
Mhm.
maybe the only bad point is that it's in Menoth, which is a faction that can sort of fill that niche, you know.
Yep.
Because that 3-point model is sort of the perfect niche. It's usually what you have left in a list. Like, oh, I got to settle for a 2-point model and be down a point. But if you got enough good 3-point models, it's awesome.
Yeah.
And
And filling that niche of the 3 points is getting to be uh, difficult in games now.
yeah, absolutely. I had a discussion with the same gentleman who had a problem with stuff um, about Lanissa going from 3 to 4, and we agree that it is kind of a problem because that was sort of the 3-point niche for so many armies.
Yes.
Granted, she's worth 4 points. There's no question,
Oh yeah.
but you know. So next, I'm gonna go through us, and I'm gonna throw our listeners' stuff in here as we go through. Also, get a good rotation going.
Oh, and
And what's up?
I said I have one for every War Machine faction.
Oh, excellent. Well, we'll go through them all. It's all good. The first one was from Trollton Heston, and he said the Night Troll. Are you familiar with the Night Troll?
I actually love the Night Troll. I
Yes.
thought of a list with the Night Troll, and it was with Grim 2 because he gives snipe to all of them.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that would have been a really cool. Hey, I need to clear the zone. Well, sniping the troll. All of them have snipe, and all of them take, and drag everything out and just eat the crap out of everything.
You're thinking of the Swamp Troll.
Mm, I am. See, I'm already drunk too much.
Yeah, the Night Troll,
Uh,
super awesome model. Um, it it has a lot of good uses. It's just it was sort of when they first put it out, they weren't sure what they were doing. With its recent buff to Mat 6 from Mat 5, I think it'll see more use. Plus, it's a light with 3 attacks. It's got 2 POW 12s and POW 11. It's got a tractor, so enemy models currently within 2 inches are immediately pushed 2 inches directly toward it in the order you choose.
hmm
Can charge living warrior models without being forced. It's got regeneration because it's a troll. And it's got crit paralysis on its claws. So overall, it's a pretty good package. 7 points is good, solid point cost for a light troll.
And stealth, which is actually pretty
Yeah,
good.
stealth is amazing, and eyeless sight it looks like,
hmm
which I don't think does as much for a non-shooting model anymore. But still, it's got eyeless sight. Damn it.
No, I remember. Yeah, because I actually had thought about using him with Madrak 2 before he got nerfed. So he could do the attractor and get more models in, move up, get more models in.
Oh, absolutely. That's a great idea. I like that.
Yeah.
And that still works even with the nerf because Madrak's the only one who doesn't get to move afterwards.
Yep.
So that's a good use. It's definitely one of those models that seems to be priced right. Um, Having looked at a whole bunch of War Beasts spirals today, doing stuff, it's got a decent spiral. Not great, not bad.
Mhm.
12-15, but stealth is great. I feel like it's definitely worth using. Plus, it looks awesome, and that is the main reason to use a model. It looks
It is a
awesome.
cool model. It is a cool model. I agree with that.
Excellent. So, what is your next model there, Gonzo?
I'll just go down the list. I'll even go because I have a friend of mine, and yes, I do have friends. Unbelievable. And we were talking about this on the way back from the tournament about good models and models to use. And I'll go with Trolls, Earthborn. Everybody thought it was crap, and they were like, "It sucks. It's not as good as it used to be." But with more terrain on the field now,
Hmm.
he actually can see a lot more use, and you can use him really good defensively and offensively. I mean, uh, his Animus giving no knockdown. He's still a good heavy. He could use a good damage buff, which is okay, but he really can get it. He can get it done where you need it.
Yeah, he's great. I know one of the locals, Oak, has talked about when the new Gargantuan comes out, the Sea King, a cool combo with him and his ability to create a water effect. Because water effects are maybe the one terrain type I don't see on the board as much as we should, especially now that you don't turn off jacks anymore.
Hmm.
You should see more of that because it's basically just difficult terrain without anything to help stop you from shooting. It's a great middle of the board piece. You can't hide behind it, but it can stop some charges and gives them a bonus.
Yes.
And trolls are a faction that have enough buffs to make it fairly easy to use the Earthborn. So yeah, they definitely should see some more use. Absolutely. Um, you did bring up something there I wanted to touch on a little bit before I go on, and that is when you said that it used to be so much better. And I think you hit on something really important there. And I think that's the key to looking at some of these underappreciated units and units in general is it's Mark III now, people.
Hmm.
I know things used to be better. Some models used to be better in Mark II. You gotta let it go, like that song says.
Let it go. Let it
Exactly.
go. I know that whole song by heart. Oh my God.
Uh, I have a metal version because I like metal.
Oh, well, being a teacher into the year school year, yeah,
Oh yeah, fair
that's what
enough.
we did.
Fair enough. But yeah, I mean, you have to just let it go and embrace what the models are now. Don't focus on the past. You have to respect what happened in the past, but focus on the future. Oh. So I'm gonna jump to another one from one of our listeners. Then I'll go to my next one, and that's the the flight medic Robert Durevsky. He described it as Bad Santa, and immediately in my mind I'm like, Bad Santa? You mean Butcher 2? But no, he actually meant the Grey Lord solo, the Colden Lord.
Mm.
Um, and he's actually not a bad solo. It's hard to argue with. I mean, his defensive stats are kind of mediocre. 13-13. He's got a POW 10 magic weapon, 1-inch reach, mat 6, but he has Battle Wizard, which is always a bonus. You put him in something like Vlad 1, you can definitely get some use out of him. And probably other things. He can be hiding behind some troops, get him out of the way, boom, go in, get some Battle Wizard. Because his. Actually, and leadership for Grey Lords, given them Battle Wizard, could make them interesting. I haven't taken a good look at them, but I think they're underappreciated as well. Yeah, I can see here. Um, and his spells being Frostbite, which is spray 8 magic attack, POW 12 cold. That sounds, yeah, mediocre. And to realize he's magic 8. 8. That is a spray at magic 8 is crazy good. He's got Ice Cage. Ice Cage at magic 8 is also crazy good because then it just starts multiplying. And then Wind Ravager, which stops enemy models from making range attacks. It's kind of corner case. I'm not going to say it's great. He does have Command 9, so it's not bad. If you could put Occultation on him, it'd be really good. But it is good against, I fought against Highwaymen, which is the poster child of a unit that doesn't want to see him do that because he just goes in and does that, and they can't hurt him. They don't have melee weapons. They just get to shoot. And his Rune Axe has critical dispel, which is another tool in your pocket. Well, I wouldn't say he's overpowered. He's definitely fighting for a 4-point slot with the other 4-point solos. I feel like he's one that may not even be overpowered to make him 3 points to try and get him some use, even. Though with a magic ability 8, that could be problematic.
Yeah, I'm currently working a Zerkova 2 list with all the stuff to go around to take
Oh,
on uh Una 2. It's
okay, yeah.
got every spray attack that I can think of, every Colden, every spellcaster, solo unit, everything, and it's stupid.
Well, that's actually a great point because he can counter Unatu's a bit because his feat is, her feat just makes you not able to melee attack it and range attack someone hard because of their stealth. He's got a spray. Just thump, suck it. I don't care
Yep.
about your stealth. Good 14-inch threat with that. POW 12 hurts the Shadow Horns or Shadow Scars fell a lot
Hmm.
because they're only armor 13. So definitely got some use there.
Oh yeah,
Um,
that's what I'm working on.
um, my next model is actually I'm going to go into more of my wheelhouse with the mercenaries. And I mean, I could go through so many mercenary models, but the ones that stand out to me the most that used to get a ton of use and now you almost never see them um, is press gangers. I mean, they used to be everywhere. They got advanced deploy and tough, but I mean, when everything's skewed to jack heavy, all the infantry that couldn't hurt a jack kind of went by the wayside. And yeah, they get up to POW 11, but POW 11 is only good against a jack on a charge, and even not so good then. But still, they will muck things up like nobody's business. And that's
Good
sort of,
tar pit.
yeah, good tar pit, or if you have some way of helping them out. I mean, if only Mercs had, I don't know, harm in faction, something like that, or a caster who could give them +3 strength. POW 14's on the charge of the hand. That's what you want against a jack. That'll do pretty good. Um, and I think we'll see with a lot of these underappreciated models, it's less that they're bad and more that you need to use them in the right circumstances with the right caster. And
Yes.
I like that. I don't want things to be easy button. I want things to be combo it up, get your synergies going. Um, oh yeah, it's Crimson 1919 says they're a decent jam. They have 13 def, which is hard enough for most jacks to hit. I mean, Menoth jacks and such, you're looking at the average jack needing 6 or 7 to hit them, which is not great. Starts negating their even the Cato jacks needing a 6. That's starting to negate their effectiveness a little bit. You get the right upkeep spell on them. Damiano again, maybe Surefoot on them for def 15 is pretty good. And it turns out you just need to put a little love into the model, a little bit of
Thought.
thought into how you're going to use it, and not just try to have it show up and be a world beater. Because really, I think every faction has at least one unit that's just this unit's good in and of itself for whatever reason, and then almost all the rest, you need to think about, and they need some combo. All right, what's your next one there, Gonzo?
I want to go. I'm just going to bounce off whatever faction you're going to with,
Mm-hmm.
and if it's different, I'll add mine into it, and then if not, I'll just go something different. Elixia 2.
Mm.
I don't hardly ever see her played anymore. I mean, defense 15, speed 8. She still collects souls. She can still summon, weapon masters. She's got arcane vortex, reposition 5,
Mm-hmm.
and she's 7 points, which is a really low cost for what she can do. I mean, sure, she can be shot and all that stuff, but she's a great harasser, especially for things that come around the flank, or just go straight up the middle and jam for a second. You
She's a
save
15,
yourself one.
16. Yeah, she's not easy to shoot.
No, but as I'm saying, I mean, if you can and you get a shot off on
Oh
her,
yeah,
it's
absolutely.
yeah, she'll go down. But I mean, it's. I was really surprised when we were talking about this that she's not played a lot more in Mercenaries. I understand not in like other factions due to a lot of things don't affect models in other factions,
Mm-hmm.
but that one is really good.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I might have to break her out, give her some use when I get back to Mercs. But yeah, a lot of good stuff there. I mean, I think she was actually normal cavalry in the old rules. Now she's functionally light cavalry with Division 5, which is great.
Hmm.
She's got Hellfire, which is crazy good. POW 14s are always good, especially POW 14s with no toughs. So
Well, and
yeah.
also the ability to make you know summon more models.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so she goes in and then she summons models behind. whatever those models want to charge.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'll take that any day.
Absolutely. I mean, with the very generous free strike or backstrike rules now, that definitely
Hmm.
get a lot of good use out of that. So we're going to jump back. Actually, I have a lot from the same factions here for our listeners. Flight Medic threw another one at us, and that was Man of War Shock Troops.
Oh,
And I agree with him. When I did Dojo for Kador, I put them in there because they're just cool. They just got to be. You just got to make sure that you understand they are going to be late game, late game, because they don't have any. They get desperate pace from the officer,
hmm.
so they can be sort of there, but you kind of want them shield walling the whole time to keep them from getting ripped apart by guns.
Like I would agree, except for round one. If I'm going first, they're running,
Oh yeah.
and then round two, that's when they, we're gonna walk up in a shield wall and fuck you.
Hmm. And again, like we said, that's it's just another unit that you just need to put a little thought into. It's not as easy button as some of the other units. But they're good versatility. Sometimes you don't want to get in melee, and they have the ability to use their guns. They're not super accurate or anything, but they're still decent guns. They
Hmm.
have a standoff effect, like, oh, if I go at you, we can't hold the flag. Well, we'll hold the flag and shoot you from here.
Yep.
There's a lot of use there, and I have a predilection towards units with guns and good melee attacks. That's sort of my thing.
I also wouldn't be surprised if there was a Man of War theme list that came out
Mm.
soon, especially with the new uh, Grey Lord Man of War coming out.
Yeah. Do they have a Man of War caster yet?
No,
Yeah, I know they thought
but
that the new one was going to be, but yeah, that would be cool.
your best, in my opinion, the best one is probably like Eris 2, just because of all the abilities he can do with them.
Well, yeah, Ursk 2, you're running infantry. The answer is probably Ursk 2.
Just a little bit.
Just a little
Just a
bit.
little bit.
It sometimes seems like when I look at infantry for mercenaries, the answer probably should be Damiano. But so my next one is actually one again that stemmed from that conversation I had with my buddy, and it's Dawn Garden Victors, which I know Menoth John loves, and he'll be happy to hear me talking about. But he just lamented how bad they are, and I'm like, how is this unit bad? Sure, they don't have flanks, so they're not stupid in melee when you get a jack in anymore, but they were kind of all things to everyone before, and you have to back it off a little bit. I mean, they're only a 16-point unit if you add their UA, and I think they're what 20 points. Good lord, if I could remember how to use this. Yeah, they're only 20 points with their UA. That's good points for a unit. They have combined range attack, and if they have their UA, they'll get a reroll on that if they're combining, which is amazing. For Christ's sakes, they're Mat 7, Rat 6 base. And that's an amazing stat line. You get them in base to base, their armor 17. They're one of those units I look at that has it all. They're even POW 11 in melee, which is just enough to keep you out of trouble. It's just enough that most units come into you, you can kill them. And, POW 12 sword cannon is great. That's two mans for Rat 8 with a reroll and POW 14s. And a once per game snipe. They're good. They also have assault should you need to charge in. And granted, they're not gonna do some of the crazy stuff with assault other people do because they only have a half-inch melee range. But I guess some of those multi-wound models that aren't crazy high armor, you'll do some work on them. They're way better than people are giving them credit for, and I think that's partly because Sentinels are so damn good, and it's hard to compete.
Yeah.
And I hope I have faith actually that Private Press will get through it all, and they'll be like, we've looked at everything, and now you'll see them all start to be good in their own way. There's always be a couple units that stand out because they are the total package by themselves, but they'll eventually get all the units to the point where they're fairly equal. Gonzo, what is your next one?
I'm gonna go keep looking at Retribution.
Mm-hmm.
Electromancers.
Oh yeah.
Especially with a lot of people going super jack heavy. Kador, Menoth, everything else.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see. Oh, you got troops? Well, use, lightning generator. Solo, we'll do Pulse Fire. Energy Leak for Jax.
Yeah,
Stripping Focus off, and it stacks.
yeah.
So we just hit you. I think they're what? They're FA2.
I think
So
they are FA2.
yeah, and they're 8 points. So I mean, 8 points for three models, but they have a lot of utility to them. I think I'd like to see them a lot more on the field, especially now with people going Jack heavy.
Yeah, yeah, they're very good. I mean, it's crazy they don't use them so much. They are a little bit squishy, having the sort of the
Hmm.
same stats as battle mages without the force barrier. But it's also magic weapons,
Hmm.
and I've seen a lot of times those damn gremlin swarms show up, and you're like, I cannot kill them easily.
Mm.
And having that versatility in it, and they're not. I mean, 8 points is a little much, and I find this with their 3-man units. Their 3-man units are at a very weird point cost.
Yes.
The character ones seem okay because they have wounds, but the other ones almost are like, did you mean to give them 5 wounds for that point cost, or is it just just you think that's what they're worth? Because the Thorn Gun Mages, I would say they're underused, but they haven't come out yet, so they don't really count.
Yeah.
The Tactical Arcanist Corps, I'm sure the Coldens come in the same thing. It's just they have a weird point cost. I feel like we need more play with those guys to see if they're actually worth it or not, because uh, I've actually gotten some good use out of some of those units people say is trash.
Yeah. And it's also finding stuff that people aren't used to because, like I said, with the Jack heavy list coming out
Hmm.
and the Electromancers, I wouldn't be surprised if you saw them more, so they could strip the focus away, deny the focus, and then because a Jack that can be down one or two focus, that's pretty big.
Hmm. Even Behemoth doesn't like being stuck on one focus.
Nope.
He's like, I want that other focus. In fact, I'd like two
Yes.
more focus. So can he still trample and shoot? Is that the whole thing?
I don't believe so.
Oh,
I
well,
haven't played him in it. I haven't played him in forever because I've been playing too many theme lists.
fair enough. But in any case, if you can, that is a Cortex. No, he can no longer do that, which is good. But
Yeah.
he still wants his two focus so he can make both of his shots good.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of jacks that you know they're about to go in. You can put your jack up there if he's not going to get three focus on it.
Yeah.
That suddenly changes the entire dimension of a jack on jack fight.
Yeah, especially, if he can't buy another attack on a Colossal or Gargantuan, oh, well, he's not going to be able to take down that.
Yeah, and you spread it around a little bit. Focus on them. I mean, the three of them, you get two on one guy with one in reserve in case you miss one, and fire one on another guy. You can definitely keep your colossal going a bit longer. All right. So Kevin Brooks says, staying with Kador. Apparently that's a common theme here. Apparently Kador is underpowered or underappreciated
This,
model land.
this is Kador land. You've just got to get over that. This is the Kador show today.
Kador show. Okay. Uh, he said Beast 09.
Oh, love Beast 09.
Beast 09's always been awesome. I can see why he's a little underused because 21 points is a lot of points.
But he's so good with Strike Off.
I've promised someone to do a Strack off dojo on one of my next co-host corners, so I'll take a look at it when I get there.
Oh,
I love that Murderous is now just a thing he gets.
yes.
Spend a focus for that? No, no, no. You just get that. He's really good at what he does, but yeah, I mean, I can see both ends of this. He can come in, he can do a lot of damage. God, Thresher with a wow, Thresher with a POW 19 is a thing.
Hmm.
He could walk right into a line of jacks, just be like, "Yeah, I'm gonna come out of this, but I'm gonna cripple a bunch of you, and maybe some of you will freeze. Maybe even I'll get that lucky hit where I'm like, I took out your Cortex and your Frozen."
Oh, I loved playing him in with my Strike Off list because he can reach so far, um, getting everything off. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I've surprised a lot of players. Like, yeah, yours how far away? Beast 09 is going to kill you this turn.
Yeah, yeah, I'm familiar. I have much respect for the Strakoff. Hyper aggressive's crazy good. I mean,
Hmm.
that's focus efficiency. When you're getting a free focus already, that makes a hell of a difference. He's a caster killer. If you can get him in, he's going to kill the caster because he's mat 8 and free boosts and crit freeze. So if he manages to get that crit and he's rolling 3 dice, you just shake. So yeah, he probably should get some more use. I understand because he's expensive, but especially with some of those one jack lists, people sometimes just want to take one jack. He covers probably majority of your jack points on some guys.
And my strike off was heavy jack list, and it
Yeah,
was just so much fun.
sweet. All right, so let's see. I am going to go with minions. I'm actually going to go with one that actually got a buff recently, and I've heard a lot of people badmouth, and I always try and defend them when I can. It's weird that I have to, and that's Gatorman Posse.
Mm.
I know they're not what they used to be. I understand they were hands down the best medium infantry in the game. No other infantry could match them, but they're still really good. Not even taking into account the points. I mean, they're now 17 points for the models, which is not bad. Two PAL 13s is good. That's enough that if you're stuck in on a non super armor jack, you can still punch through it. And if it is super armor, you got enough attacks to try and swing for the fences. Mat 6 is okay, but every problem they have themselves, they can deal with their prayers. Oh, you got to approach and you don't want to get shot to death? Dirge of Mists. Concealment makes a hell of a difference. Def 14 from Def 12 is a big thing. You need to charge through some terrain. They've got, Predator's Prayer. Actually, heck, that doesn't do what it does anymore. Huh. Call me wrong. They don't have Pathfinder. My bad.
Mm-mm.
But they do get plus 2 inches to movement charging a living model. And they love killing infantry. Unyielding's good. And then the rerolls against living models is also good. So yeah, in a jack heavy environment, they're not necessarily the best unit, but they're still really good and they need to get more use. Even if you just put a unit in and go, this is my anti-infantry, it's going to run to the side of the board where your infantry is, and it's going to charge in and it's going to murderize them. Because that's what they do. And if you get the right buff, like everything, they're not like the standalone unit, something like say Pharaoh Brigands are, but you get even the slightest combo up with them, and they start to shine. Uh, what is your next one, Gonzo?
Bouncing off, and it's kind of funny because it goes with the minions, and especially with Una 2 tech coming out, because everybody's trying to find a way to get around Una 2.
Mm-hmm.
Threats be able to pre-measure, and it's Lanissa. Lanissa, you don't see her anymore since she went up her point,
Yep. Yep.
and she's still really solid. The no fly bubble is great for Unitech.
Oh yeah.
Prowl is really good. +2 to charge range is huge right now. Whenever you're now able to pre-measure, you're like, oh, my threat is 12 inches. All right, lay it down 12. And they're like, yeah, but I can go 14 because Lanissa. Uh,
Plus the free charge.
yeah, I mean it's right now. I mean she went up in points, but I still think, and you don't see her anymore because of that.
Mm-hmm.
She still is really good.
I actually took other stuff out of my list to keep her in my list. I
She's
know some people
solid.
didn't. Yeah, Hunter's Mark cannot be downplayed. Now, if she only
Mm-mm.
had Hunter's Mark, they probably would have kept her, but the no fly bubble, like you said, it's harder to use, but that time you get it to work, your opponent's going to hate you.
Yeah, and like I said, and Una 2 is such a big part of the everybody's teching against Una. Tuna, as we like to give our players
Tuna, yes.
problem. And it's all right. I'm gonna park her right here next to the caster. No fly bubble. No fly bubble.
Yeah, it's super good. Um, I've loved her for a while. Even the Ice Bolt, I've had some games where that game where everything goes right. You're like, I fire the Ice Bolt at your Archidon just because. Oh, I hit with doubles. He's frozen, and then Brian comes over just like I eat the whole thing, which I never would have killed otherwise.
Um,
So good.
Go to a story with that. Went to play at a War Machine Weekend qualifier, and I was playing Madrak 2. Not Madrak 2. What's his face? The other, he's got the third version. Oh, what the hell is his name?
Doomy?
Doomy 2. I was playing Doomy 2 with Rock and all that good stuff. And I had Lanissa in there. And I had a charge on his caster, and I had to get the charge. I had to kill the caster because it was my last chance. And my only problem was his Rock was already beaten up. And if I took a free strike, it could have wiped out, boxes. So he would have been worthless. So I shot an ice cage and needed double sixes to hit the model behind the wall, and I hit it. Double sixes, and I got so much crap for that the whole tournament, but I was like, double sixes, bitches. It
Double
works.
sixes. There's nothing like getting that exact thing you need to roll. I can tell you many stories about the Devil Squid, us playing, and me pulling some magic out of my ass to win a game that I had no business winning, including one where I had two Spirit Fangs on, what's her name? Uh, we were talking about her earlier, Scar.
Oh, yeah.
The first one missed, and I'm like, well, hit this one. I need to roll 17 to win. 17. Good game.
Yep.
Uh, so the next one by our listeners, and I'm keeping it in War Machine for a bit. We'll end with all the non-War Machine models. Is Throlg. They just mentioned that in the chat room, and you mentioned that you love the Throlg.
Oh, he's so fun.
I love the idea of Throlg. I have never used him in a list, but since I'm playing minions now, I will definitely be looking him up.
He is a very good harassing model because he can get where he needs to go,
Hmm.
and he just scares other people. You have to deal with him because if you don't deal with him, it's a problem.
Yeah, amphibious good, advanced deploy good, magic weapons, three of them,
Hmm.
POW 13, two POW 12s, all range one, which is not bad at all.
Hmm. Keep
And he's all
going.
got arcane interference, which is really good because it kills up, keeps an enemy, and disruption. Ho ho
Hmm.
ho! That's pretty good because with F13, some warjacks without focus are not going to kill him.
And he's a Mat 7.
He is, yeah, that's pretty good.
I mean, Arcane Assumption and Spell Ward on him. Okay, well, you're not going to spell him to death, so you got to melee him or shoot him.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it means you also can't put spells on him. But in this one particular case, I cannot argue with him because that's sort of the thing.
Hmm.
It's that you don't spell him. Yeah, find a good army that has a feat that can help him out. That would be good. I'd take a look. I might take a look.
My only complaint is he's 6 points, but I can understand it because he's got so much going for him.
I feel like he probably should be five.
Hmm.
Five to be quote unquote competitive. At six, I still feel like he's good. But I feel like he'll disappear in some games.
Yeah.
Um, I feel like if you made him Mat 8, then that was sort of my point with what's his name, Gudrun the Wanderer. If you made him Mat 8, I feel like it changes the whole dynamic. But I feel like there's a ton of models. You change one number up one, one of his stats up one, it changes them. But no, he's
Yes.
really good, and I definitely want to take a look at him. Um, so for my last one is Circle Ouroboros. I just went with the aside from the Kiki Monk, I went with the factions that I actually play. And there's so many to choose from Circle, and I'm gonna go with the one that used to be overplayed like a mug, and I'm gonna go with Druids.
Oh.
You just don't see them anymore,
Mm-mm.
and I kind of understand, but I mean, they've just gotten better technically. Like, yeah, their clouds are not quite as good, but they have Prowl now, so you're not gonna shoot them out of their clouds. You're not gonna be like, well, I got all this accuracy buff, so I don't care if you're def, extra +2 def in the clouds, so you're def 17, whatever. I'm gonna shoot you up anyways. Now it's like, no, you're just gonna miss. It's stealth now. Um, and they did change their attacks a little bit. They still have Wind Strike, which is good. Magic Ability 6 is kind of problematic, but they're not expensive. It's only 12 points for the unit of 6 of them, so you're paying about 2 points a mana, which is not bad.
Hmm.
Still got their Vortex, the Vortex still does everything. Still, the Wind Strike's still the same, and then they got this Pulse of the Earth, which is a ranged 8 magical attack that causes no damage. If it misses, nothing happens. On direct hit, against any model, you center an AoE 3, and all models underneath it knock down. That's crazy good.
Hmm.
They can definitely start some assassinations out. And then if you look at their UA, he's 4 points, which is a little pricey. And I have a problem with the one model 4 point UAs, unless they're really good. And he's not quite that good. He does have all the same attacks as them. Plus he gets elemental protection like he used to have, and he grants the unit apparition, which is pretty cool.
Yes.
I would rather granted like reposition. That way they can pop their clouds and back out of them. But I guess that'd be a little too good. That's a little too good at cloud tech. And then he also gives them Sacred Ward. And Sacred Ward is nothing to be sneezed at. There's some armies that suddenly they're hard to remove.
Yep.
So I really like them. They're I think he's still Mat 6. I don't remember if the rest of them are Mat 6. Let's take a look, shall we? Boom. Now they're Mat 5. If they made a Mat 6, I think that'd change all the things. Then they're also POW 10, Reach, Magic Weapons. But no, they're pretty good, and it's just too bad they don't get used anymore. Yeah, I agree that, you know, what they used to have was probably completely and totally off the hook, and they had to bring them down into the realm of reality. But it's bad that they went from the signature unit of Circle to you just don't even see them anymore.
Yeah.
Gonzo, what do you got from Circle?
And which I have a feeling we're going to see a whole lot more since they just told everybody that they're going to be doing a theme list of them. I think we're going to see a lot more World Watchers.
Mm.
World Watchers are going to be, especially when like I says, the theme list comes out. I mean, the +4 armor, ADs, Pathfinder, magical melee attacks, a gun, fertilizer. I can't wait to see what that theme list is going to do because I have a feeling World Watchers are going to come back.
Absolutely. I feel like the only downside of them is always has been the 2 Fury.
Correct.
But honestly, you don't really, 3 would be amazing, but 3 would probably be too good for them. Still got a great Animus. I mean, even without dropping their stone form, they're still 17 armor. They get into infantry. Infantry have a problem with that.
Yeah.
2 Fists of PAL 12. I mean, yeah, they're pretty good. They're only Mat 5 again. Their gun's pretty good. Yeah, I mean, I see a lot of use with them. I think it is too bad they don't get used a lot. But yeah, you're right. The theme list will bring them back out, and I'm always interested to see what their theme lists do. I feel like with very few exceptions, they're very themey, and they seem at least interesting to play.
Well, one thing that in tactics we were talking about with them is the fertilizer. It says any model living and undead.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't say enemy. So you
Ah,
put the spear girls in front of them. They can hit them in the back. They should be able to hit them in the back. And you can just create tons of force, let them be, a sacrificial unit.
you're not thinking, Gonzo. You're not thinking.
I'm not thinking. I don't
No,
play Circle.
no, minions, sir. The Shamblers.
Oh,
Boom, boom. Kill 2 Shamblers. Boom. 2 walls. Maybe you get some corpses back. Maybe you make more Shamblers. It's the circle of life.
I was thinking speed because they do AD, so you'd have to make sure you run up in front of them because you could actually make a pretty good, decent wall with whatever's in front.
But you probably don't need them turn 1, so yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Give me a second. All right. So I'm actually done, and everything I've left from the listeners are other games. So what do you got left for War Machine there, Gonzo?
The one thing that I really wanted to talk about,
Mm-hmm.
or actually two things.
Sure.
What I really miss, because I used to play Signar, and we don't see it anymore, is Rangers.
I
With
know.
everything's going so range heavy in a lot of games, you would think you would see more Rangers because of the AD, the bonus to hit. I mean, sure, they're not going to do a lot of damage, but that +2 can really be the difference between destroying a jack or just lightly hitting it.
Well, it's also in the case, even the case of Jax, it's the case of difference between having to boost and not
Hmm.
having to boost.
Yep. I was really surprised I didn't see them in like Sloan lists just so they could get that extra that extra hit against, of course you don't have to worry about it mostly with Kador jacks, but Crix jacks and everything else.
Sometimes you'll miss hitting on a def 10, Plus
Yeah,
two is plus two. I don't care what it is. Until you hit on anything but snake eyes, that plus two is important.
correct.
And honestly, you're playing a jack heavy list. I feel like their importance is magnified because they're saving you focus that you don't have to use to boost against jacks. It might be just that level. Oh, def 12. Well, I need a 6 to hit. Sixes theoretically should be more common than not, but we all know 6 is the hardest number to hit on in War Machine.
Oh yeah, oh yeah,
Miss so many sixes. Making that 6 a 4, that's huge.
yes.
So yeah, they should
And
see them more. And plus, they're if you've got jacks, in addition, the Rangers get to shoot the infantry. Those couple guys in the way, the Rangers will shoot them, and they can, if you place them right, they can get bonuses off each other. Like they can't use their own bonus, but if you got two guys in fire, you go this guy shoots this guy, you just the right priority of fire. Those guys are crazy good, and the models are solid for old models. They're very there's no frills on them, but they're good.
yes.
They're like the opposite of Kayazi.
Mm,
You know what I mean? I know you
yep.
do.
Yep.
And I'm looking forward to using them in Kingmaker when I finally get back to that. All right, so any other ones you want to talk about for War Machine before we jump into some other games real quick?
Yeah, last one, and I think is we're going to see it a lot more, just because of everything that's happened to the faction.
Hmm.
Because I think we're going to see the Siege Animatrix, because that actually turned into a pretty damn good battle engine for its point cost.
Yeah, yeah. I was actually surprised when they dropped a lot of battle engines point costs. I understand they didn't drop the mercenary one because it had no play, so that's fair. But I'd actually go so far as to say battle engines in general I feel are underappreciated, especially ones that have any sort of boosting mechanic.
Yeah.
The Signar one, the Siege Animatrax. I think we will see it too because Scorn players love that model. Um, the late errata in Mark II to it was great. It made it on the table. People were basing lists around it.
Hmm.
Man, yeah, I hope to see it more. It's cool. I love battle engines. I wish in some alternate world there are War Machine players out there who got battle engines but no colossals. I feel like that would have been much more interesting game wise.
Yes.
Not that I
Like I said,
hate colossals. Go ahead.
yeah, but like I said, I really think that the Siege Animatrix will see a lot more on the field just because of the buff it got from the errata.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So other games, I'm gonna go through for what our listeners said, just so we don't run too far into the media section time. And Chris Eberly, who I believe, if I don't miss my guess, is Congo the Dromagun, says Kingdom Death in general uh, underappreciated because people just look at them as pinups and they don't realize they are still a game and do have quite a few very good models to boot.
Yeah, they are.
I feel like they're I actually saw someone playing Kingdom Death Saturday at the games and stuff. It was crazy. Like I forgot there was a game until I saw them playing it. But yeah, they're definitely some people forget that with some models that they're just pinups, or they'll look at a couple models in the range. GW falls for this one too. They have some of their like. Here's Ariel, the Wood Elf Queen. She's riding a giant stag beetle. Why? Because you look at that, you're like, what the hell? And then you're so focused on the what the hell, you don't look at some of the rest of the models and go like, holy crap, these guys are amazeballs.
Yeah.
Forest for the trees, basically. Do you have any non-GW models you want to talk about?
Non
Or
GW,
non-proprietary press, sorry.
non privateer press. Um, at one point, I was playing Tau and or not Tau, Toha, in Infinity, and
Hmm.
I really got into it, but it pretty much died at the store. And I got a friend that's coming back, that's gonna be playing with me a lot more, and he actually writes a lot of articles for it. And the one model I wanted to play more than anything, uh, but I couldn't because he kind of sucked. Was their only, and I can't remember what the name of their mechs are,
The
but the
tag?
Toha, the Toha tag, because he just would die so quickly. But I loved the model. It was really cool, big, beefy, Had some decent stats, and I finally picked them up, and then they changed the stuff on them, and then nobody played at the store anymore. And I was like, damn it.
I would actually counter on that like I did with the battle engines. I would say tags in general in Infinity don't get as much play as you think maybe they should for how cool the centerpieces they are for Army because they're fire magnets, they're expensive, and if there's one flaw to Infinity, it's the cheap models can still kill expensive models, and cheap models give you more orders. That sometimes
Correct.
causes disparity. Um, but then again, I feel Infinity is a gentleman's game anyways, and you and your opponent decide what you're playing before you go and play, and make sure you're playing the same game, if you will.
Yeah, it was. I really liked. I mean, I really like Infinity. I think it's a great, solid game.
Hmm.
One of the biggest, and I don't call it a negative, but for players in general, you have to have a lot of terrain and a lot of multi-tiered terrain,
Yeah.
and that's a lot of problems for some players to buy all that terrain and just or make it. But I really love that game. I love my Toha. Can't wait for my friend to come back into town so I can play more of it. Because I really like it.
Yeah, and the weird thing about the terrain is you need, like you said, multi-tiered, but you need a certain style. You can't just go. I see a lot of the multi-level apartment buildings, but people don't go in buildings so much. You need like I forget who does them, but the ones that look like simple buildings with stairways, walk up to a level, it's got another building. You need just simple multi-level terrain, just a little bit. It's it is super fun. It is about as complicated as a game can get and still be playable. If it was any more complicated, you'd be like, nope. But you're at the point where you're like, yeah, I can wrap my head around just this much rules. Uh, so, Congo also said GW Standard Space Marine Sculpt. He said pretty much carries the niche industry on its shoulder, having its own chain of stores in mass production and all that. And the Standard Marine is, their icon or flagship, and most people don't really use it or respect it, and that's actually fair because it is the Standard Space Marine is a very very cool model. And honestly, the way they built it, I don't know if you're very familiar with that. It sounds like you used to play, GW games. It's a very versatile model kit too. You can do a lot with it.
Hmm.
And every time they come out with a new kit, there's more add-ons. It as much as one of my friends would twitch to hear me say it, I think the Space Marine is probably the best model in any game, just due to all the versatility and options it has. There's so much you can do with just that simple armor. I mean, heck, people are playing Warhammer 30K, which is functionally Space Marines versus more Space Marines, and they do so much with it that no army looks the same, and that's great. Oh. So one last is from Kev Bryant. He says some of the '90s GW orcs, and this is Mark II edition basically. They weren't too serious, but they were cool at doing what they want to do, like weird boys with their powers. Sometimes he'd be firing himself at the enemy. The shock attack gun, which used to fire stands of snotlings at people with a cooled cart. They're definitely were underappreciated. The pulsar rockets, they weren't the best models, but as far as interesting and fun and
Fun.
funny rules, they were
Correct.
probably the standard bearer for those.
Yeah, I mean, when I played 40K, and that's pretty much all I played. Uh, I always, when I saw an orc player, the orc player came by, I was like, crap. I can't do anything about this because everything's going to go crazy, and I don't know what crazy it's going to go.
Let me make my plan. Oh, I can't. All right,
Yes.
let's just roll with it. Pulsar rockets that might affect nothing, might make your whole army slower. Oh, back in the day, it was a mixed bag of craziness, but super cool.
It, it
Super
was it
cool.
was a lot of fun because even when you looked at it, you were like, all right, these guys are going to shoot, but are they going to destroy my entire army, destroy his own army, or just blow up in the air? Let's roll a dice and find out.
Yeah, absolutely. I do miss that sort of carefree-ness a little bit. I had high hopes that Age of Sigmar was going to bring that back. for at least the fantasy orcs, but it looks like it did not. Oh, you're hiding your face.
Ugh.
Not a fan of Age of Sigmar.
Actually, I've been playing War Machine and Hordes for a long time, and I played Fantasy. It was one of my first miniature games that I really got into, and I got out of it because a lot of people got out of it and then went to 40K, played some 40K. And when I heard that they were doing a new edition and it was Age of Sigmar, I was like, oh, okay, cool. I'll wait to see what it is. And, you know, I like some of the miniatures. Fantasy's really cool. It's pretty popular around my area. I'll get into it again, buy into it, new edition. And then the new edition came out, and I'm like, this is crap. And I understand that the new, General's Handbook or whatever made it better.
Hmm.
But
Well, that should have been out of the gates.
yeah,
Yeah.
that should have been like the first thing.
People throw stones at Private Press for sort of muffing up the Mark III release, but GW muffed up their own release. It's honestly, I would say a lot of companies have muffed up their new edition release, and I would say it's more rare for someone to do it right than to do it wrong.
Yeah, I was just
Malifaux
really
sort of dropped the ball on theirs. Infinity may have done their new edition the best, honestly.
I think the only major problem, I don't know, it's not a major problem. The only problem I have with Infinity is there's way too many fucking rules.
Yeah, yeah.
There's just way too much crap in that game, and you're just like, all right, I'm going to do some hacking. Let's go to the hacking chart.
No, let's get my phone, bring up Captain Spud's website app thing that lets you tell you how to hack and everything, and let's use that. And
Yes.
hats off to Spud, an old Lost Hemisphere guy, for doing that. Apparently, he's all in on Infinity.
Yeah, and I love the game too. It's a
Hmm.
great game. It's an incredible game. It's just there's just too much.
Yeah, yeah. And Age of Sigmar, everyone tells me it is super fun, and if there's one thing you need for a game, is fun. Some
Hmm.
people want more than fun, but as long as it's fun, it's good. And we talk about GW's in a good place now, which is only good for the hobby.
Yes.
Good for all of us. So there we go. Thank you guys for your contributions. I feel like Gonzo, we might have to do a nostalgia episode one of the times John is off. Talk about old games we used to love.
Oh,
Because
that
he's
was would
he's a
be too
more
bad.
recent gamer than we are. So
Oh yeah. See, I've been gaming. Oh man, shit. I'm way too old. I do know that one thing though, we haven't been drinking enough, so I think we probably need to get a shot in here.
well, Ron.
So to Ron.
Mm. All right. Well,
Fuck, that's nasty.
I can't drink nasty stuff. Ah. So now for a Wild Turn of Events, you're in the center screen, sir, and I will jump down into the corner.
Oh shit. What are we gonna talk about?
Well, it's the media section, sir. I think you had a little bit of a mini topic for that.
Mm. Mm.
Catch you right as you're eating. That's that timing we have.
I had to clear that fucking rum out of my throat. Um. Well, I guess we can go in for the what movies we saw this week. And I wanted to go with something I saw today, but it wasn't a movie. But I heard some good reviews, and I usually watch all of HBO's like made series.
Hmm.
And I watched The Young Pope today, and I was bored out of my fucking skull.
Oh,
And I like Jude Law. I think he's a great actor. I thought it'd be really cool because it was supposed to be this, Pope that was strange and unusual, and I literally was bored out of my mind watching the first episode.
oh, it's the worst.
I was like, damn it, HBO. Westwood was awesome, or
Westworld,
all
yeah.
the Westworld was awesome. Everything they've done has been pretty good, and I'm just like not interested in what they have made. I mean, there's not. I mean, it was slow. It wasn't funny. Dialect wasn't interesting, and I like whenever you know they push the norm of religion and throw it out the window for
Hmm.
whoever they're doing it for, and breaking the mold. And I was waiting for that, and I was just like, yeah, I'm not happy with it.
Yeah, boring is the worst. I can handle bad. because I can make fun of bad, but bad and
Yes.
boring, I get tired of making fun of it.
I mean, I'm probably gonna try to give one or two more episodes a chance just in case to see if it picks up, but I was not impressed with it at all. Did you see anything awesome and crazy this week?
So for a rarity of rarities, I saw no movies this week.
The hell?
It was a busy week.
Even I had a busy week and worked a lot of hours, and I took at least some time.
Well, to be fair, all of Saturday night was running a role playing game. Most of the free time I had during the week was getting ready for the first session of said role playing game. Just didn't get any time. When I did get time, I was watching TV. I watched some more episodes of the Grand Tour with the guys from the old Top Gear.
Hmm.
Very amusing. I feel like they still need to hit their stride. It's a little jerky as far as their overall quality, but still enjoyable. Um, yeah, other than that, just a bunch of TV and YouTube. I didn't have a good 2 hour block at once to watch anything. I watched a documentary, both a documentary on the sinking of the Yamato and the sinking of the Bismarck. I'm on kind of a World War II naval battle kick. But nothing crazy. It happens. But I think you had brought up a topic that someone said about comparing books to their movie versions.
That's correct. Someone actually brought that to me last week, and the first thing I thought of was the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Obviously,
Obviously, it came right to my mind because it's such a fan favorite, and you watch the movies, even if you watch the extended version of the movie, you can't fit the entire book into a movie. There's just too much, and there's not enough time.
yeah.
You would have 5 hour movies. I mean, people complained a lot about Tom Bombadil not being in the movie, which he's a great character. He was cool, but he was
Hmm.
only in there for a short amount of time. But he would have made no sense for a movie,
He was
which is,
completely unnecessary. That is about as far as I've gotten in the Lord of the Rings books. Is a little past Tom Bombadil, and then I fall asleep.
yeah. I mean, he's not necessary to the story. Cool, he's neat, but just wasn't necessary to the overall arc of what was needed in the movie.
Yeah, if it was like an HBO series and he appeared a little later, it'd be a great change of pace. But in the movie, it would completely derail what they're doing, and I know everyone hates it, but I feel it would hurt the flow of that movie. And I
Hmm.
think that's what a lot of these changes are: is flow of the movie.
Correct.
Um, the Hobbit's sort of the opposite of Lord of the Rings, where they tried to fit everything in, and I don't hate these.
More.
Yeah, more. They definitely went into the Silmarillion because calling it the Hobbit trilogy was sort of unfair.
Hmm.
It is literally the Lord of the Rings prequel. It
Yeah.
includes the Hobbit, but they wanted to set the stage for everything that happened later. And I don't blame them for that. And honestly, I feel like the only real misstep they made was the third movie. I don't think the third movie was bad. It just wasn't as good as the two came before it by any
I mean,
stretch.
there was no need, and big spoiler alert here, there was no need for the fight with the gold and all that, fighting the dragon. There was no need for that entire scene, the barrel ride scene. Legolas should not have been in it.
No.
I'm sorry. That I sat there and watched that, and I literally just wanted to throw up because I was like, you took one of my, and I know it's kind of stupid to say, one of my childhood movies that was incredibly awesome, shaped my entire perspective, and you shit it out with diarrhea and vomit.
And a lot of people felt that way, and I can't blame them. I mean, it didn't bother me as much, but I can see that the flaws are apparent, and they are many. Uh, I didn't mind the female elf. I thought that was actually a good add to a movie that's so male centric because of the times it was written in.
I can
Um,
agree with all that.
um, the love triangle. Why can't you just have a female character show up in a movie and not be a love interest? Doesn't need to be a love interest. She could just show up and be like, I believe in what these dwarves are doing. I wish to help them because I am a good person at heart. And there's no reason for you don't need anything more than that. She there could be some, attraction, some friendship between them, but it,
Every movie doesn't have to have a love story.
correct. I give movie bonus points if people that shouldn't fall in love don't.
Correct.
But uh, that's definitely a good one. The one everyone thinks about. I'm going to bring up a different one, and that is Black Hawk Down. I don't know if you've read the book for Black Hawk Down, but
No, I had a friend of mine that was very into it, and he told me how it was different from the book and the movie.
yeah, I mean, it, overall, I would say it's one of the more faithful adaptations. The biggest thing being that what's his name? The main character, Sergeant Eversman, actually wasn't there for the whole battle. He got out on the convoy early in. He didn't stay. There was a whole different. It was Hispanic Army Ranger who was there through the whole thing. I forget his name off the top of my head. But Josh Hartnett's character was not there through the whole thing. He got out. No, Congo, I'm not going to bash Black Hawk Down. It's one of my favorite movies and literally one of my favorite books. Um, I suggest the book to anyone. It's not a tough read. It gives you a whole bunch of background on these guys, more to their state of mind because he interviewed people. It is a, it is one of the best cases of taking an actual historical event and making it read like fiction without sensationalizing it.
Well, from what I understand, from what a friend of mine told me that had read the book and we watched the movie, is like they trivialized one of the characters because
Mm-hmm.
of what he did after what happened at Black Hawk Down. I guess one of the
The
people.
They changed his name. It
Hmm.
was what's his name? Ewan McGregor's character.
Yes, I think that's who it was.
He sort of Ewan McGregor's character is not actually a character. I think he's a combination of two people, and they sort of put him together for the movie role because of that. After he got out of the military, he did some horrible things and should probably burn in hell.
Yes.
But some of those things you have to make because you don't want someone to give that guy you know extra press. See him on a movie screen. That might be giving the wrong idea to
Impression.
people.
Yeah.
Wrong impression, yeah. But overall, it's fairly faithful. I feel it's a very good movie. It doesn't sensationalize war at all. Um, it's just a cool military movie. Um, it ends on a relatively high note for those things. I mean, it hits you in the feels a little bit when the two Army Rangers rope down for the Blackhawk pilot and defend him to their death. That's one of the most noble, heroic things I've ever seen. Heard of people doing. I mean, they went down. They knew they were going to die, but they were going to die for their buddy, and that's pretty amazing. And I feel the movie actually does it justice and hits you in the feel a little bit for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, good movie, good book. I definitely suggest. I can't suggest reading Lord of the Rings books unless if you can get to the first one. I hear you're good, but this one reads well, reads quick, and worth it. Gonzo, you got any others?
Um, I'm going to say this because of the state that it's in right now. And actually, someone told me to start reading them
Mm-hmm.
because it was coming into a TV series. And so I could get into it. And it's Game of Thrones. Um, I actually read the first book of Game of Thrones, got all the way through up into aka the Red Wedding, and I was just like, I can't stand this because the series started coming out. And I'm like, I'm not going to spoil myself because I know that things are going to deviate and they have to deviate
Mm-hmm.
because it's a TV series. And then I went, wait, they're catching up too much with the books.
They're going to go past the
He's
books.
and it's not he's not going to finish. So I'm like, I'm not going to do it. Just threw it away.
They're going to do the same thing that happens with some Japanese manga that get adapted in that series. Is that they pass it and they have to make their own shit.
Hmm.
Yeah, Game of
So
Thrones
I'm
is
just like,
one that's always recommended to me, but I know it's not necessarily my thing. I have to be in a right mood to watch something like that. I'm more likely to see a Tolkien thing.
mhm.
My good guys live, my bad guys die.
I mean, I'm always for killing off and making characters realistic.
Hmm.
Like when I role play, or I run a campaign, I don't go and go, your good guys are going to live no matter what because they're the good guys. I'm like, no, your good guys can die.
Yeah.
And it's actually good for your characters to die because it does that.
Hmm.
And whenever I see characters go through the hardship and like the Game of Thrones type stuff, I'm like, good, because life fucking sucks.
Hmm.
So I'm okay with that. I don't have a problem with that. I mean, sure. I mean, I grew up with like Dragonlance novels. And when I read those, for the people that have read it, when, certain characters died, I was like, fuck, that hurt.
Yeah.
But I was like, but that's war.
Yeah.
That's life.
It, it, I feel like Dragonlance did one of the best balances. At no point did I feel like everyone was safe.
Yeah.
And as it going on, you're like, really everyone's not safe. Not everyone dies in battle. People die of things that people die from.
Yeah.
Those are good. I feel like they are. I mean, they're obviously inspired wholly by Lord of the Rings.
Yes.
But I feel like they're good. They're almost a good homage to Lord of the Rings. Uh, but yeah, Game of Thrones is a big one that I'd like to wait till the series is done, the TV series is done, and then just watch it all. Because then I can know I'll get to the end and I won't be like, I can't believe it ended on a cliffhanger. The bad guy's doing good, the guy's doing bad. Now I feel depressed. I know I'll at least have the final story, so I can legitimately be angry or legitimately be happy.
Yeah.
Another one is the all of the Tom Clancy movies. Now I haven't read The Hunt for Red October, and the Sum of All Fears I'm not going to discuss because they had to be changed for to fit in the real world and to fit in the reboot they were making. But I will talk about Clear and Present Danger and the earlier one, Patriot Games. Patriot Games, if I remember correctly, and it's been a bit, is a much more faithful adaptation than most. Obviously, it's a bit more actiony because in the movie Harrison Ford gets to be action hero at the end. I recall the ending not being quite as cinematic, and a lot more interesting intrigue in the middle because in Britain you're guilty until proven innocent. So even though he saved people's lives, he killed somebody, and he was on trial for that, and that was a significant portion of the early book. Basically, them proving that yeah, it was warranted. It was defending someone else. It wasn't murder. So I had an interesting background, and with books like those, like most, there's so much more to it.
Hmm.
And I feel like Patriot Games did a good job of cutting out a lot of the stuff that would be absolutely boring in a movie. There's one scene in it where they're in a command room watching thermal feeds from a satellite of a strike team going in against a camp, and that in itself you're like that's exciting enough. But him discussing with people stuff, they have to cut that down for what it is in the book because while in the book it's intriguing to read, on a screen it's not that intriguing. But it is a fairly good adaptation. While Clear and Present Danger takes quite a few liberties with it. The general story again is the same, but the ending is a bit different. It's not Jack Ryan goes down to South America by his lonesome and helps bail them out with Mr. Clark. It's actually he goes down there with, if I remember correctly, Navy or Coast Guard guys. I think it was Navy in a helicopter and bails them out that way. Actual military force.
Yeah.
But that's one I'd like to see again. But it's not free, unlike Patriot Games, so I'd have to go find it on DVD. But yeah, a lot of those political thrillers you're going to find the movie version is quite a bit different than the book version because you have to. Just like with Lord of the Rings, they had to.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they're going to be walking for 3 hours. You'll be like, oh, they're still walking.
Yeah.
You'll get basically the boring parts of the prequels for Star Wars, where, oh god, they're talking politics we don't care about again.
Correct.
Politics in a book can be interesting because you get a frame. They can tell you all the frame reference, everything that is important to go with that note. In a movie, if they did that, it would be boring as spit. Thus, you don't have that investment. So, Gonzo, you got any more for us?
I actually want to take the same concept
Hmm.
but apply it to a future. Um, Dark Tower and American Gods.
Okay.
Now, I really like I read American Gods. Spent it was like one of my summers, from teaching. I sat outside on the back porch and read American Gods, and I loved it. And now they're doing the TV show of it. I'm kind of cautious. And also with the Dark Tower series, they're turning it into a TV show. And it's that cautious optimism. I
Hmm.
hope they do it justice. I know they're going to have to change things
Hmm.
because, like I said, you can't do everything in the book in the movie. But I'm cautiously optimistic. I can't wait to see American Gods and Dark Tower on TV. Um, but I'm kind
I
of
thought the Dark Tower
it's
was a
that
movie.
I thought they were doing it as a TV series.
I
Are
don't
they
know.
doing it as a movie?
I think they're doing. I thought they were doing it as a movie. I thought that. Oh. Let's see if we can do this without exploding the computer.
I'll use my iPad that is sitting on my table.
Oh, you know what's really stupid is I have my tablet here too.
See,
It's a film.
is it going to be a film? Well, I'm just cautiously optimistic. I mean,
Yeah.
especially American Gods because it's very relevant to today.
Absolutely.
Um, with everything that's going on, I think I'm very because I really liked it because I can see why the title is American Gods, and I really, 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 really hope they do it justice.
Much like you with Game of Thrones, as I got interested in reading both of those series of books, I heard that a adaptation was coming, so I backed off.
Hmm.
Um, because the Dark Tower is one that I keep hearing bits about, and I'm like, that sounds like that would be my shit. I just they've been it's been in development hell for forever, and I don't want to be the whole read all the books and be super pissed off about the movie changing so much stuff. I'd rather see the movie knowing full well they changed stuff than go back and sort of enjoy the expanded version of it.
Correct.
I feel like you're setting yourself up for success that way rather than setting yourself up for disappointment.
Well, I really hope they do it good because those are two good series,
Hmm.
um, especially American Gods, um, because it's so the cast they got is really good. Um, the story is really neat. The information, everything that goes with it is really good. I'm just like, please don't fuck it up. Please don't go from what the entire story is supposed to be about. I don't care if you take liberties and change like the race of somebody or branch off a little bit. That's not a problem. Just make sure you keep the same feel and the atmosphere of what's supposed to be there.
Hmm.
That's what I'm really concerned about.
Yeah, absolutely. I understand that. And if you're out there and you're interested in these things, think about it before you watch them. Maybe you want to read the book first because that's good for you. Maybe you want to wait and see if the movie's any good before you jump in and read the book, or maybe you just want to see how good the movie is. Um, I'll even go as far as Robotech. You know, they have the book series for that was released. Jack McKinney, who's actually two authors. Unfortunately, one of them's passed. Um, and it takes the whole cartoon series and actually adds a bunch of stuff to it. Where it's six small books for the Macross Saga, which everyone knows, but there's enough extra stuff in there it really adds a bit and sets the stage for the later books in the series. So even something as simple as a cartoon like that had a bunch of extra add-ons, but I wouldn't have wanted to read that first because there had been a couple cool scenes that wouldn't have shown up in the anime series, and could have disappointed me. Oh, was it Norman Richards says a race change is what's derailed the first attempt at an Honor Harrington movie. That'd be an interesting movie. Have you read Honor Harrington, Gonzo?
I'm looking it up right now. So I was looking up. I was like, I have no clue what it is.
It's hard sci-fi space battles.
I mean,
Uh,
I can understand if it was like the reason why you can't change someone from, a Caucasian to Hispanic because the reason why they're Caucasian is the reason for the entire movie.
it's hard when it's it's hard when it's a female actress. Honor Harrington's a female captain of a
Uh-huh.
ship, so you're already, you, if you will, having a non-standard lead for a movie of this type.
Okay.
And apparently the writer shot it down because, oh, I'd have to read into it more. Oh, okay, got it. There are a bunch of things where they're trying to change certain things in the movie from the book, and that can be a problem, which is too bad because I think with today's graphics, Honor Arrington could look very cool, and it'd be very different since we don't really have a hard sci-fi movie out there. Because it is very hard sci-fi. I mean, they go a lot into the whole, rate of closure and all that stuff, all the hard sci-fi elements to fighting with quote-unquote real-world tech. Not that it's real world, but, with respect for physics. No instantaneous hyperdrives and blasters that travel so fast it's crazy. But it'd be good to see, and I'm always interested to see a good movie get made out of a book. Um, that new one coming out, what is it? Starts with a V. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Mm-mm.
Valerian, something like that?
The only Valerian I know is Steel.
What is the damn name of that? There is a movie coming out based on a series of books, I think. Trying to see if I can figure it out real quick. Oh, can't figure it out. There's some movie coming out. It's got Dane DeHaan in it as one of the leads, based off a book series. Always good to see because it means if you watch the movie you like it, you immediately have more source material to go after. But we'll have to see how that goes. Keep an eye on the Dark Tower movie like you're looking for in American Gods. You can give us an update
Mm-hmm.
when those come out. But until such time, I think we're about done for a night there, Gonzo.
Oh no! I didn't
Oh
get
no.
drunk enough.
Oh well. Luckily, you got plenty of time to get drunk yourself later if you wish.
Oh man. Me
So
too.
there we go, Brushheads. Another episode. Hopefully, it wasn't too painful to listen to without John here to keep us under control a little bit. Next week, hopefully, John will be back. I totally forget if he will or not, but we can all hope. Um, Again, thanks for tuning in. For Gonzo, I'm John Spencer. Have a good night. Ron.